Join us for a new season of the MS Gym podcast and learn from MS veterans and newbies alike as they share their own stories and how the MS Gym has shaped their journey towards healing. Hello, MS Gym. So glad you can join us for another podcast episode. Today, I am going to be chatting with another fellow Canadian. Heather is new to the MS Gym and somewhat new to the MS journey. So join with me as we chat and learn more about Heather and her journey with MS. So Heather, thank you so much for joining me today.
Absolutely.
So I did hint that you are a fellow Canadian. Where are you from in Canada?
I currently live in Calgary, Alberta. I'm originally from Gander, Newfoundland.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So obviously this is the MS Gym podcast. So
Yeah.
tell me about how MS showed up in your life.
I think the first symptom that was not suspected to be MS was when I fell down my stairs. So I fell down my stairs and broke an ankle, and that sucked. It was a really bad break. But when I got the cast off, I seemed to have vertigo. And so, but I saw a neurologist, I saw all these things. I hadn't felt my left pinky in a couple of years, wasn't sure what was going on, and I was never sent for an MRI. So it was written off as peripheral neuropathy, unrelated peripheral neuropathy. And so there was never any answers, and that's okay. But then I never got rid of my cane when I broke that ankle 4 years ago. I never could because I've had some relapses, which I now know are relapses, but strange things happen. So you get your cast off and you do physio, you get walking, but I never could get walking well, and I had a fall, and so I never really got good momentum. And then this past winter, so probably just over 6 months ago, I had a really, really rough relapse. Like I was stumbling. I looked like I was drunk every day, like badly drunk every day, like woke up drunk. That was bad. So I pushed my GP, my primary doc, to write a requisition for an MRI. And they didn't want to do it, but then they realized I was missing half the reflexes on part of my body. And so they sent it, got it right away. And I got in with a neurologist within 2 weeks, and they diagnosed me RRMS at the time, with the possibility of early onset PPMS. So they're just covering themselves, I think, because I've come out of that, and I'm walking much better than I was 6 months ago. But yeah, so I've only been diagnosed officially since May 10 of this year. That's when I officially got the RRMS diagnosis from the neurologist.
How long did you suspect that maybe MS was in the background? Because you said that you went to your doctor saying, give me an MRI. Like there must have been something going on in your mind to like, why specifically would you want an MRI if you didn't have any suspicion?
Well, I was suspicious of MS since I fell down my stairs, but because I lost my balance and fell down my stairs. So like, why did I fall down the stairs? However, other doctors involved, or medical folks, didn't seem to have that same question. And so it was just pushed past it. I think folks might have been distracted by, I'm a single mom, I have two autistic kids, I'm right there. There's a lot going on for me. And so, and when you're 45 years old, some folks are like, oh, that must be hormonal. Oh, you're getting older. Oh, you're blah, blah, blah. But I also did not have apparently the most common initial symptom of MS is an abrupt change to your eyesight.
Yeah, optic neuritis.
And I
That
don't
was
have
first.
that.
Yeah.
I don't have that at all. My eyesight hasn't changed over time. So, but then I did some research about MS and found out that an MRI can diagnose MS now in about like 90% of the time. So I was like, well, I'm totally going to pay for this out of pocket. And I got in for an MRI within 2 days. I mean, it was awesome.
Okay. All right. So you took the initiative.
Oh, yes.
Like I don't want to say it's bittersweet, but was there relief in this diagnosis? Like,
Absolutely. It genuinely was a sigh of release. I had a reason for looking like a drunk all the time. I
Mm,
mean, I had to miss my daughter's performance at her school because I wasn't going to make it from the parking lot to in her school, so I couldn't go, and that's what triggered me to get a walker.
okay.
So that was pretty devastating at 45 to have to
Mhm.
get a walker. Um, but I was like, well, no, I'm so still going to make it to my kids' stuff. I'm only 45. My kids are 11 and 13. I'm like, I'm not missing this.
Yeah.
So, and then it started to remit. So it
Okay.
was a little easier. So knowing that, hey, there's a reason you look drunk all the time, I was like, oh, thank God
Mm,
that there's something identifiable, right?
okay.
So I think that was harder when I had too many questions. It was like, no answers and a lot of questions. Hey, why is this happening? Why can't I feel this part? Why do my feet feel weird or whatever? But it's also my norm. So I'm sure a lot of your folks probably have the same where, hey, I didn't know that I couldn't feel that part of my foot
Mhm.
or that part. You don't know because that's your norm. That's just how your daily life is. So I didn't realize how messed up I was until I
Okay.
started getting all of these intakes for neuro and right
Yeah.
examined and blah blah blah. So
Yeah.
mhm.
No, it's interesting, they say hindsight's 2020
Oh
after the diagnosis. I'm sure you can look back and say, oh
yeah.
yeah, that and that. Like I think it's a very common story. And I know there's many in the MS gym that were also relieved to get the diagnosis because they might have known for, you said about four years, you knew something wasn't quite right. And there's
Mhm.
people that like 10 years and they're still
Yeah,
trying to like get a diagnosis that they just have. And so there's obviously there's grief in getting diagnosed with MS, but then there's also relief,
absolutely. And
knowing that it's not in your head or having people tell you it's in your head, and then suddenly you're like, I've got proof.
absolutely. It's interesting because you have this relief, but you're not happy about it. It's
Yeah.
not like it's fun or something. It's like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, I got this diagnosis. That sucks. Yes, there's totally a grieving process and
Yeah.
an ongoing grieving process, to be honest, because every once in a while you'll realize you can't do something or the other. And
Mhm.
it's a loss, it's a repeated loss. So that's really difficult, but huge relief that, oh, I actually can hang my hat on MS as something people would possibly recognize. I do have to make sure that I do physically show up to places so people can see I'm not dead. I swear,
Oh,
folks' reaction to a diagnosis of MS seems to be quite strong, and they seem to be thinking it's very tragic. And so and MS has had such huge strides in so many different things, and it's so individually driven just
mm,
with symptoms and are people part of the MS gym? Are they working to maintain or to improve what they get back? These kinds of things.
yeah.
Um, it's so individual. It's really difficult to try to come up with something. It's actually kind of impressive that the MS gym exists at all to have ability to support a lot of folks with such a varied presentation of the same disease. It's really it's a an eye opener for me for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So after your diagnosis, or you kind of like take the bull by the horns where you're like,
Yep.
okay, this is my diagnosis, give me medication, give me
Yep.
lifestyle changes, give me throw it all at me.
Absolutely. That's exactly where I'm at because I guess I was kind of bitter that I was 45 and I had to go get a walker. So
Mm,
I was bitter. I was like, hey, I don't look that old yet. I don't even have gray hair. So and my kids, I mean, I have one kid still in elementary school. I'm like,
oh,
no way. So I've walked with a cane forever and the elementary school do, oh, she's the lady with the cane, but now I'm the lady with the walker. That's
mm,
okay, but it's okay. So how can I improve me? How can I get back what I've lost?
mhm.
What's attainable? What's not? What's possible? So even certain things like my mobility was just generally bad, but my GP thought I had drop foot.
Okay.
However,
Yeah.
I didn't have any drop foot. I had I had strength in the leg, but my foot wouldn't lift, and it was because of MS spasticity.
Okay. Yep.
right? So things I had no idea were a consideration. And so I've been getting some assistance with that from neuro and whatnot. And so all of a sudden I can actually do the stairs in my house.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Right. So like, and it's also like, working in combination with MS gym exercises and trying to maintain what I have. Like my hand strength on one side isn't great. I dropped a chef knife on my toe last week. That sucked.
Ooh.
Um, but that's okay. But it's adapting to what do I need to do for me and how can I get as much back as I want. Like, or maybe not want, but what am I capable of getting back for myself? This is not a stroke where, oh, whatever you get back in a year, that's it. Right. Well, if my symptoms have been coming on for the last decade, then if I work at relearning and reusing different muscles and different things, because all these different causes, is it neurons? Is it muscles? Is it what? I don't know, but I'm finding out very quickly. So
Hmm.
yeah.
How did you go about finding the MS gym?
I saw folks talking about it anecdotally within some Facebook groups, like it's MS Facebook groups, I should be
Yeah.
specific. They were talking about it anecdotally, but then I went and researched it more on my own to kind of see what was there. And of course, there's a number of like free items that you can check out and you can at least know, hey, am I okay with Trevor's voice? If you find it very annoying, then maybe that's not the thing for you to have. Um, but it was really logical and it really made sense to me. And I'm a
Mm.
super logical person. I'm an auditor by trade. So I always like to really, really understand details. And that's all laid out, I find, in the MS gym and me going through it. And also finding, hey, I got to work with MS gym and I still have a physio and I still see my neurologist and trying to work with it in combination.
Mhm.
And I've had good feedback from my physiotherapist at the MS clinic. Oh, I've heard of the MS gym several times, she said. So I was like, hey, that's great because I think that the variety of exercises and whatnot, they're very fitting. So I'm quite happy that I signed up for it.
That's awesome. Yeah, and the MS gym has been around for over 7 years now, from when it
Yeah.
started in the free group. Things have evolved so much. And when you said that you first found the MS gym through the free content, there is so much free content, and
Yes.
it gives you a real taste of, when you sign up for the membership, like what to expect.
Yeah.
And it's for all varied levels. Like everyone with MS comes at a different time. They find the MS gym, their MS is at a different stage. And there's really programs geared towards all stages of MS so that everyone can feel like they're able to do something to get stronger.
Yes, that's exactly what I was looking at because there was a, pardon me, in the winter when things were really, really poor, I had terrible vertigo. I couldn't even stand up on my own. It was quite bad.
Mm.
I thought I might be wheelchair bound by the end of this calendar year. That was a very real possibility. And then I could feel the remittance coming on. And I was like, well, and as I looked through the free content, I was like, okay, if this comes back very terribly, how could I utilize this? Would I still be able to utilize this if I was in a wheelchair or if I was unstable? And I find that a lot of the exercises do speak to that, like, hey, your body is trying to respond to like safety. That's what your body's doing. And so, if you think you're going to fall over, then obviously you can't do standing exercises. And so that's where I was at. And can I stand super well now? Not for long periods. But that's okay because there's still things I can do and there's still content in the MS gym and free and otherwise. But of course, it's a little bit more robust when you pay for your membership.
And more organized.
Yes, it absolutely is.
Um,
And so you can actually figure out what could apply and also the encouragement online like, hey, you know what?
right.
Maybe you were more mobile previously, but maybe you had some kind of relapse. And so you have to dial it back from, BGB1 going back to reconnect. Okay, let's reboot again. And there's no shame in rebooting multiple times. You do it as much as you can, right? It's not about oh, you have to do this. It's just the reminders of your progression is likely not to be linear,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like normal people, they go to the gym, they work out, they buff up, they can monitor it in a very linear fashion.
Yeah.
However, for us, with an actual diagnosis, you wake up and it's day to day. You just do the best you can. And so what? You know what? If you have a really bad day or had a really busy day, well, okay, come back and you can restart. Or, hey, it's okay if you miss a day or two. You don't have to be so diligent that it's feels like a chore, right?
Yeah.
I definitely, it's definitely catered to us MS people who don't always know how we're going to feel day to day. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. And I feel like because Trevor's been doing, he did the MSGym, but he's been working with neurological clients for decades now. Like
Mhm.
he understands that things change, and he's very in his programming and in the language is very adaptable to, you know, knowing that every day is going to be different and there's going to be like a flux. It's not going to be consistent. And like you said, progression is not linear when it comes to neurological conditions because the brain has to feel safe. And one day you can be doing an exercise and your brain feels like, I love this. I feel so safe. And the next day, your brain, for whatever reason, whether it's hot out or you didn't get enough sleep, things change.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, exactly. And that's something you have to adapt to when you have this super fun disease. It's always kind of a roller coaster every day. And and it's not even linear with, okay, I worked really hard yesterday, so I know I won't be able to do it tomorrow. Well, you never know.
mm,
The best I can do is like day to day. So days I know that I have more energy in the mornings, which is helpful to know for me to get my kids to school.
mm,
Um, but by the nighttime, I mean, I don't leave my chores until the evening because my right leg might not work, or it might not lift, or what have you, right? So if I'm going to do anything for MS Gym, it has to be before my kids get up when I have the most energy. That's my biggest chance for success.
mm,
And that's all you can do. You just adapt as you go, and yeah,
mm.
it's a challenge no matter what, no matter
Yeah.
what. And I'm sure Trevor knows too, I saw a little video from him on one of the groups. Just he was talking about he had a setback, and he had a walking cast on one of his feet, and so he was having some kind of challenge with neuro something fun. And so he was sharing that, hey, you know what, things were going along great, but this kind of stuff happens, and it just does. And that's tough. And who knows long it takes to undo, right? And for me, apparently I have spasticity. How long does it take to undo? How long was the spasticity building up? Was
Mm,
it building up for a day, a week, a month, a decade? Who knows? So how long will it take for me to retrain those muscles to walk differently? And so that's been my goal since I broke my ankle 4 years ago. I haven't been able to walk normal. And so
mm,
I've been trying for years to get rid of that cane. And now it's to get rid of a walker. I don't know that I ever will. However, at least to be able to lift this proper, to try to retrain muscles. And retraining muscles is possible if you still have your eye on the prize. At the end of the day, I mean, I would love to be able to make it to my youngest's graduation from high school in 7 years, um, not in a wheelchair.
mhm.
That would be wonderful. Will I get away with no walker? I don't know, but I can do it with no wheelchair. I can fight for it, right? You got to be feisty. You got to be feisty.
It's probably before you heard of the emission, although maybe you heard Trevor talk about it before. Him and Misty, his wife, she
Yeah,
used to do a lot of talks in the beginning. They talk about knowing your why, because knowing your why is what's going to motivate you when things are hard and when you don't want to
absolutely.
exercise and you don't want to take care of yourself, knowing your why. And obviously for you, your why is your children.
Indeed.
What type of work are you doing or were you doing before you went on disability?
So I'm an auditor and an accountant. So I guess in Canada, in the States now, it would be CPA. And so I actually work for the national office up here in Canada, and I do a lot of things for head office and develop a lot of background things. I was able to work from home full time, so that was exciting because I could actually keep. I kept working, but I knew there was a problem. I have so many monitors, I couldn't look between my two monitors anymore. I'm like, well, that's not normal. so,
Mm,
different things like that. So I really didn't have to walk away because I don't have a physical job. So I didn't really seek that short-term disability until I ended up chewing up all of my sick time in a
okay.
month, effectively working half days because I was so exhausted. It just, shoved me over on my butt. I just could not do anymore. My kids were going to bed later than me. I mean, that's that's a telling sign.
Yeah.
But they did suggest, their HR department did say, hey, you're like the textbook case for why someone should be seeking short-term disability, because I obviously drained my sick time. I was trying to make it work. It didn't quite. And so I've been off since June, and I'll be going back actually on in mid-September.
That's good. Do you feel like things are starting to improve, like physically? Do you feel a bit stronger
Absolutely.
than you did? Okay.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
when part of your diagnosis, did you decide to go on a disease modifying therapy or
Yeah.
steroids or
Yeah, I'm on a DMT, and I think it's the fastest that the neurologist had ever seen anybody. I'm like that really annoying squeaky wheel to
Mm,
to make things happen. And so yeah, so I'm on a DMT. I started June 3rd. Yeah.
mm. It's interesting what you say. I think the longer you're in the MS and you're dealing with either illness and family, like we do become the squeaky wheel. Like it's almost like when MS is in our DNA, so is
Mhm.
tenacity. Like it's like we're like super pumped with that because it is what we have to do,
Yeah.
like to keep pressing forward every day to say, okay, this is not what I want it to be right now, and this is difficult, but I'm still pressing forward. I'm not giving up. And so yeah, I
Yeah.
think we often get labeled the squeaky wheel, but really it is, healthcare definitely has improved, but we really do have to advocate for ourselves so much. So being that you are fairly new diagnosed, have you learned anything in your process that you would share with someone else, whether it's in person or in the members only corner in the MS gym, in the Facebook group? Is there any advice like you say, oh, I wish I had known this when I was diagnosed?
I think the biggest thing I would tell someone is, hey, if you do need help, then you got to figure out a way that will be okay for yourself to live with, to be able to be active in your life, and not active physically, but just to be present still in your life.
Mm.
And what I mean is, hey, if you have a really tricky problem with, some folks have a problem with incontinence or something. Well, maybe you have to suck it up and figure out a pad or what have you. For man, woman, doesn't matter. Maybe you have to suck it up and figure out, find one that works for you. So find the way that it works for you. So I did that with my walker. I have a bumper sticker on every walker I own that actually says, I'm not drunk, I have MS,
Mm.
on all of them. And I realize it's kind of announcing it, but it's kind of one of the ways I was able to resolve in my head, this is a support I need to have for my safety. I need to do this. I need to find a way for me to be okay with it. And it's hard, if you're younger and, oh, I never thought I'd be doing this. Okay, find a way for you that works for you. That's all that matters.
I appreciate what you said, and you've influenced a lot about having to use a walker at a young age, and I do too. I have to use a walker in my home or a scooter outside, and it is hard when you're younger, like the perception, like mobility aids are for people in their 70s or something, not
Right.
a young age. But it's so important that our bodies feel safe because
Yes.
I remember hearing the saying, like choose your hard. And, some days it's hard to say I need a walker. It's hard to do that, but it's also hard to keep falling and injure yourself and fall down the stairs and break your ankle. Like it's like choosing your heart and realizing that, mobility aids, or like you said, incontinence pads, like we need to do what it is that makes our life easier, because we spend so much energy trying to fight against things as opposed to being present. And sometimes our reality isn't exactly what we want, but we don't accomplish anything by denying what's going on.
Absolutely. And some of the things that I've heard, and I can't recall which it was, maybe it was in Reconnect. Trevor was talking about, even our bodies will react to certain ways when it feels like, it needs to react like fight or flight, right? And so, it was understanding, okay, so how did I end up knee knocked? Well, Trevor talked about that in a video and was like demonstrating, hey, your body will do this, your body will do that when it's feeling fear. Even if you're
Mm.
not aware of the fear, your body feels the fear, and this is what might happen to you. And I'm like, oh my God, I've totally been doing that. And so that was super helpful for me, because I was like, ooh, I recognize his movements. I mean, I was trying to improve it, but for myself, but he was addressing it, like, hey, your body is going to react in a scared fashion. So if you don't, my hips, of course, everyone hip flexors when you sit, you got to be doing these things. Well, if you do it while you're laying down flat, you can still stretch things and exercise things and not be having your body react in a scared
Mm.
way. And I was like, this all makes so much sense. I was
Yeah.
pleased that I could relate to some of these
Mhm.
more possibly remedial aspects, because that's totally how my body reacted. We're all human.
Yeah.
So if your body is scared, it's going to do what it wants to do to
Yeah.
protect you. So
Mhm.
it just all makes sense, very logical. So I appreciated those bits
Mhm.
for me.
Well, Heather, thank you so much. I got a lot of food for thought. You're very insightful, and you might not have been diagnosed that long, but you certainly, I think, part of your career and part of who you are, you have gained a lot of resources and you have a lot of knowledge. And I think our listeners will really benefit from the things that you've learned. Be sure to check out our show notes to learn more about this episode and how to connect with our online community.